In this video, I'm going to give you an update on the Matkin's request to add sand to Tract B, which is HOA-owned land. If you haven't watched the original sand request video, I encourage you to do so. In April of 2019, the Matkins submitted a request to SwiftMud and then it was withdrawn. They submitted a new request to SwiftMud for adding sand, and that was in April of 2021. That request was withdrawn, and then they submitted a new request in June of 2021. And what I'm going to show you is the response from SwiftMud. They've made it very clear that this request is not an even swap from sod to sand that they previously mitigated. I don't know how many times they have to put this in writing before they understand. I'm going to go over all the details with you because there are many other things that they included in here, one of which is alarming for the rest of the lake lot owners that mitigated previously. So let's take a look. Here's a picture that the Matkins included in their application referencing the area of Tract B that they wish to alter. On July 1st of this year, SwiftMud issues a letter to the Matkins and to the management company. This is all public record, letting them know that the application is incomplete. And then they list a project information review. It's like a checklist of all the things needed to review this application. Number one being a permit fee. I believe it's close to $1,100 needs to be paid. Number two, they reference the Lake Thomas Point ERP, that's the Environmental Resource Permit, and it says, please submit a completed copy of the Environmental Resource Permit Modification Short Form that is signed by Chris or Jessica Matkin, the property owners. There's an issue with number two. They're stating that Jessica and Chris are the property owners, when indeed they are not the property owners. The area that they are referencing is owned by the HOA. So there is definitely a miscommunication there that SwiftMud is unaware of. Number three states, please provide written authorization from the Property Owner Association, the POA, for the removal of grass and replaced with sand north of the seawall. Prior to permit issuance, it is necessary for the district to confirm that there is no objection from the operation and maintenance entity, the POA. This next section you'll want to pay attention to under environmental considerations, because the Matkins have stated before, we've already mitigated, we shouldn't even have to do this, it's an even swap. No, it is not. Number four states, the current proposal is a request for elimination of the sod component and replacement with beach sand, resulting in full habitat conversion. The nature of the proposed work will necessitate the remainder of the full conversion mitigation amount to be provided. So essentially, they're stating that they would have to mitigate to a full functional loss here. Additionally, the HOA will need to address cumulative impacts to address reasonable assurances, requirements with regard to adverse impacts to the functions of wetlands or surface water associated with the potential of the remainder of the semi-converted lots to conduct activities facilitating full conversion to a similar lakeshore beach condition. Such reasonable assurance can be demonstrated by providing mitigation to offset the remainder of the full conversion mitigation amount. Listen to this part. For all remaining lots that originally opted for semi-habitat conversion. So now they're suggesting that all lots, to provide an assurance to SwiftMud, all remaining lots could or should mitigate to a full functional loss. It's my understanding the Matkins are the only ones asking for this. So now they're bringing up every other lot that mitigated and has been minding their business. These wetlands are a protected area. SwiftMud is involved. Florida Fish and Wildlife are involved. And the Florida Department of State Division of Historical Resources is involved. And on the last page, number 13, due to the outstanding non-compliance issues which exist on Lot 16 relative to the unauthorized placement of sod in the wetlands, this is behind Michael Adesi's lot. I encourage you to watch that video. and the unauthorized ongoing removal of wetland ground cover vegetation. The district lacks reasonable assurance that district permitting standards will be met. Document what actions will be taken to bring this project into compliance and when these actions will be performed. A point that seems to be lost on some is that the lake lot owners do not own Tract B. This is common land, just like the other areas that everyone in the neighborhood owns. They are set up this way for a purpose. Mostly has to do with our drainage for the neighborhood. In an effort to change the mindset of, oh, just let them do what they want, it's behind their yard, I submitted a request to prove a point. Please consider this our official request to install an adult sandbox in the common area behind our yard. Our request is to install, and I cited the exact same measurements of sands that the Matkins are requesting. I also included a plat showing that our area behind our house is not protected wetlands. It's just labeled a park, so less hoops to jump through. Bottom line, if the board is going to allow some homeowners to store trailers on common land and fire pits and lawn chairs and hang hammocks off common trees, what is to stop the rest of the neighborhood from doing these actions? In fact, if you live on the big pond, you might want to consider submitting a request to make a beach entry into the pond behind your house. It's behind your house. No one else is using it, if we're going to use that logic. Or let's go one step further, and why don't you put a dock unapproved into the big pond? It's ridiculous. So in closing, the board has the power to stop this madness by simply saying no, deny the request, and move on.